Item number 700. Trench excavation protection. 701 Description. 1 Related work specified elsewhere. Section 306. Structural excavation Section 307. Concrete structures Section 400. Excavation, trenching, and backfilling Section 402. Sanitary sewers Section 404. Standard sanitary sewer manholes Section 405. Sanitary sewer structures Section 406. Jacking, boring or tunneling pipe Section 407. Concrete encasement, cradles, saddles and collars Section 408. Vertical stacks Section 512. Adjusting existing manholes 2 Definitions. Definition of terms shall be as set forth in the Code of Federal Regulations, Subpart P, 29 CFR, Part 1926, as revised July 1, 1992, or most recent revision. 3 Scope. This item shall consist of designing, furnishing, installing, and maintaining trench safety systems, required for the construction of trench excavation and backfill and pipe installation, in accordance with Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, standards and conforming to the provisions of Subpart P, 29 CFR, Part 1926, of the Code of Federal Regulations, most recent revision. The term trench shall have the meaning assigned to that term in the reference standards promulgated by OSHA. In general, trench means a narrow excavation, in relation to its length, made below the surface of the ground whose depth is greater than the width, but the width of a trench, measured at the bottom, is not greater than 15 feet. Trench safety systems include, but are not limited to, sloping, benching, sheeting, trench shields or boxes, aluminum hydraulic shoring, sheet piling, cribbing, bracing, shoring, and dewatering or diversion of water to provide adequate drainage. 702 Submittals. 1 Safety record. As indicated in the instructions to bidders, Item 12, required additional bid proposal information, where excavation requires trench protection safety systems, or where otherwise required, all bidders shall submit a safety record which will be considered by the San Antonio River Authority during bid evaluation prior to contract award. This record is to indicate the contractor's safety performance concerning trenching and or shoring requirements over the past 10 years, including all insurance carriers over the reporting period and including claims made by the contractor against those policies. Claimant's name, nature of claim and amounts of award shall be indicated. Major safety violations of OSHA standards or other appropriate standards must be indicated in the report. A poor safety record may be the basis for disqualification of the bidder. For example, a report indicating an unreasonable number of safety-related claims and or violations for the particular size of the bidder's organization may be the basis for disqualification of said bidder. Failure to submit a complete safety report concerning trenching and or shoring requirements or falsifying information may also be the basis for disqualification of the bidder. 2 Trench Safety Plan. Upon notice by the engineer, the selected bidder shall within 14 days thereafter submit to the authority a plan for trench safety system which shall conform to the provisions of Subpart P, 29 CFR, Part 1926 of the Code of Federal Regulations and which shall be capable of being installed within the available workspace. Failure to submit the required plan within the allowable time indicates the bidder is non-responsive and may be cause for rejecting his proposal. The plan shall be prepared and sealed by a professional engineer, registered in the state of Texas and qualified by similar design experience to design such systems, who shall hereafter be referred to as the contractor's qualified engineer. The plan shall contain, as a minimum, the following. A plan or other designation of the areas in which each type of system shall be used. B. Drawings, manufacturer's data, or other method of identifying the various elements of the system with sufficient specificity to allow positive identification during construction, and installation requirements sufficient to allow field verification of proper installation. C. Manufacturer's written specifications, recommendations, and limitations. D. Engineering calculations or manufacturer's certifications showing that the system is designed with the capacity to resist without failure all loads that are intended or could reasonably be expected to be applied or transmitted to the system and designed to provide protection throughout the full depth of the trench. Loads used for design of the trench safety system shall be as determined by the contractor's qualified engineer. Calculations shall include surcharge loads imposed by the contractor's construction techniques and or adjacent structures or improvements. E. If proper installation of the proposed trench safety plans requires excessive trench widths, the plan shall also contain engineering calculations showing that the additional loadings imposed by the increased width do not result in a need for a stronger class of pipe. If the calculations show that a stronger class of pipe is required, the additional cost shall be borne by the contractor. The purpose of a submittal review of the trench safety plan by the authority is to determine that the contractor has planned the trenching work and the trench safety systems required, that a qualified professional engineer has assisted the contractor in this planning, and that the plan is in general conformance with the project design requirements. The review of submittals does not relieve the contractor of full responsibility for trench safety, including selection, excavation, and construction procedures, methods, and materials. The contractor is solely responsible for any and all property damage or bodily injury, including death that arises from his trenching activities, whether or not performed in accordance with the submittals. 3. Trench safety documentation. Safety of personnel on the worksite is of paramount importance to the authority. The contractor shall initiate and maintain a trench safety training program which shall provide for frequent and regular training sessions. The trench safety program shall be in accordance with Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, standards governing the presence and activities of individuals working in and around trench excavation. Upon notice by the engineer, the selected bidder shall, within 14 days thereafter, submit documentation of the existence and content of the safety training program. Also, within the 14 days time allowed, the apparent low bidder, as directed, shall submit a letter signed by an officer of the entity certifying that no employee of the contractor or subcontractor will be allowed in or near a trench excavation on this project unless the employee has first successfully completed training in basic trench safety subjects. In the same letter, the contractor shall also name the competent person, foreman or superintendent, who is to be reasonably available to the project at all times when trench construction work is in progress and who is empowered to act for the contractor in trench safety matters. The competent person shall be one who is capable of identifying existing and predictable hazards in the surroundings, or working conditions which are unsanitary, hazardous, or dangerous to employees, and who has authorization to take prompt corrective measures to eliminate those conditions. 703 Quality Assurance. 1. Inspections. The contractor's competent person shall inspect the trench, the adjacent area, and the trench safety system each day, before allowing employees or others to enter the trench, for evidence of any situation which might result in unsafe working conditions and to ensure the system meets OSHA requirements. Such inspections shall also be performed following rainfall or any other occurrence, such as encountering unexpected subsurface conditions, which could result in hazardous conditions. If evidence of possible cave-ins or slides is noted, or any time a safety system is damaged, work shall immediately cease and all personnel shall be removed from the trench. Personnel shall be required to remain outside the trench until the necessary repairs, reinforcement, or other appropriate actions have been taken as directed by contractor's competent person. After the appropriate action has been taken, the competent person shall inspect and approve the work before allowing personnel to re-enter the trench. The contractor's qualified engineer shall inspect the trench, adjacent area, and trench safety system periodically for compliance with the trench safety plan and for evidence of any situation which might result in unsafe working conditions and to ensure the system meets OSHA requirements. Such inspections shall also be performed following rainfall or any other occurrence, such as encountering unexpected subsurface conditions which could result in hazardous conditions. Emergency inspections by the contractor's qualified engineer shall be made immediately upon the request of the contractor's competent person and/or the authority. 2. Authorities/engineers inspectors. The authority and/or its engineer may have assigned to the project an inspector. The inspector is provided at the work site for the limited purpose of observing the work in progress and reporting back to the authority's engineer on the extent, nature, manner, and performance of the work. The inspector may communicate between authority's engineer and contractor their respective reports, opinions, questions, answers, and clarifications concerning the plans, specifications and work, but shall not be deemed an agent of the contractor for all purposes in communicating such matters. The inspector may confer with the contractor, the contractor's competent person or contractor's qualified engineer concerning the prosecution of the work and its conformity with the plans and specifications, but shall never be responsible for, nor shall he assume an authority or responsibility for, the means, methods or manner of completing the work or trench excavation protection, or of the superintendence of the work or supervision of the contractor's employees. The inspector is not authorized by the engineer or authority to independently act for either or answer on behalf of either, any inquiries of the contractor concerning the plans, specifications, or work. No inspector's opinion, advice, or interpretation of the plans or specifications of the contract, approval of the means, methods, or manner of contractor's performance of work in progress or completed, or failure to discover or object to defective work or materials shall release the contractor from his duty to complete all work in strict accordance with the plans and specifications.